G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Thursday the 17th of May 2018 and the time here is 13:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, sorry for not posting yesterday, but life got in the way as per usual. Things to do, people to see, and life to have been led. But having said that, it's probably good because loads went on. The world is, as we all know, getting crazier by the day to the point where you just can't believe what's going on these days, can you? Here in Australia, a couple of things that come to light. One of them in particular that you may have missed and has now got a huge, a huge impact on your life. I'm going to show you the story now, so just hang on. This is the story here from the ABC, which was yesterday. Now, this all looks innocent and, oh, thank you, Prime Minister, for saving our lives. Well, in actual fact, folks, this is nothing more than a Big Brother scenario, and it's even worse than that, because what they're saying here is you no longer can travel without proving who you are, where you're going, and what you're doing. In Australia, that is. They're going to implement this across the board. Now, I suppose there's two ways to look at this. That, one, they're looking after us. Good on you, boys. Two, that they are going to implement all these safety procedures to help us. Great. But what they don't tell you is, on the back end of that is, you're no longer going to have the freedom of travel. What I mean by that is, yeah, you can get on a plane, you can fly somewhere, but you cannot any longer have freedom of travel. And what I'm saying is that they now want to know who you are, where you're going, what you're doing, when you're coming back, etc., etc. Also, those biometric spinning things are now going to be mandatory in every Australian airport or major Australian airport. Every single one. So every single passenger has to go through one. So it will sniff you and also x-ray you before you travel. This is true. This is fair income. This is exactly what they said in this thing, guys. This is exactly what they're doing to us. This isn't like, woohoo! Of course, they're going to give you all the bullshit and, as police to carry out random ID checks. Well, that wasn't what this was about. That was the main thing that they bleated about. But, and look at this, as Malcolm Turnbull cites, dangerous times ahead. Well, what are they? Tell us. Because I'd like to know, what are the dangerous times ahead? Do they know something we don't? A bunch of ragheads going to go crazy and jump on, every single plane and bomb it up in Australia? What? Right, white Christians going to go, crazy and take down 7 planes? What? What? That's what I don't get. What's with the rhetoric? Why making news articles citing dangerous times ahead? Well, what, the LGBT, whatever they call themselves, are going to go loopy and they didn't get everything they wanted as a minority? Listen to the rhetoric here, folks, and use critical thinking. This has got absolutely, and I mean zip, F all about security and this has got everything to do about making sure they know where every single one of us is and every single one of us is doing. This is really bad. Well, this is not funny. Let me read you some of this crap. I won't play on this because listening to this Dutton dimwit is enough to drive you insane. So you can go to an airport, and the federal government wants to give police the power to carry out identity checks without cause at the nation's airport. So this is the federal police, I'm guessing. Mr. Turnbull with Prime Minister Turnbull citing the dangerous times facing the nation as justification. What are they? I'm going to say it again. What are the dangerous times? We've never had one plane hijacked. To go through security now is a friggin' nightmare in Australia. You've got to take your belt off, your boots off, you empty your bags. You can't take your wallet. You can't even take your wallet through anymore. You've got to take all your jewellery off. You can't take a drink, a water bottle, nothing. So what is the dangerous times? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is absolute bullshit. They're corralling us to keep an eye on us. Nothing more than that. This is what this is about. It's nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with anything else. Because flying in Australia is the safest, safer than any other country, as far as I know. Mr. Turnbull and Home Affairs Minister Peter Dimwit Dutton will unveil plans to roll out new legislation today, along with an already announced nearly 300 million package to boost security at domestic airports and introduce new measures in regional centres. Blah, 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 blah. The Prime Minister said anyone travelling through the nation's airport, that this won't include politicians and the like, could be subject to the new powers. The justification for changing the laws so that police at an airport can ask you to identify yourself. The justification is the safety of the Australian people, Mr. Turnbull told reporters at Melbourne Airport. Well, just so everyone's clear here, a policeman, whether it's a federal police, a state police, I don't know, is there any other police? Backtracking police? Tram police? Even tram police or railway police have the power to ask you your identity. And not only that, folks, it's a federal law to give misleading information as regards to your identity. So what the fuck is this all about? I'm sorry for swearing, but this has incensed me like nothing else. Remember what I was saying about our kids? If this keeps going, right, our kids will have biometric chips in them because our kids at the moment are too friggin' stupid to understand what's going on. So what I just said to you is actually fact, a law. Every policeman has the right to ask you your identity, and it's illegal for you to give misleading information as regards to your identity. So what are they going on about? Let's go a bit further. Under current laws, police can only ask for proof of identity if they suspect the person has or will commit a serious offence. That is absolute bullshit. If that's the case, how come every time I get pulled up they ask me for my licence to prove my ID? This is crap. The more I read this, the more I get annoyed. The Greens have finally stood up and done something right, demanding people produce documents on the spot is a hallmark of police states, Greens Senator Nick McKim said in a statement. This is a slow march of authoritarianism, and I 100% agree. And here's the last bit, folks. Body scanners are coming to domestic airports. You know the ones where you walk in and they go and they fry your brain cells and they fry your body. They actually radiate you. It's true. They didn't pass any safety tests. Oh, you can't make this shit up, can you? Oh, just, you know. Anyway. Woohoo! There will be no need for passengers to produce identification when checking into domestic flights. Yeah, if you believe that, you need your head read. That's how come every time I go to the counter now at every Jetstar, Tiger or Qantas, the first thing they say to me is, "Can I see your identification, please?" So that's a lie in itself. As previously announced, new body scanners, similar to those used in international airports, will also be rolled out at domestic and large regional airports. Despite privacy concerns, the government hopes 94% of passengers would go through those scanners. Everyone wants to get through all these security checks swiftly, but they also want to get through safely, Mr. Turnbull said. Well, I don't remember anyone crash tackling me or hitting me over the head with a baton or anything bizarre like that to hurt me last time I went through a security check at an airport. So what is that about? Can you know, look, oh God, this pisses me off. This is nothing more than the federal government doing an authoritarian state on us, the people. That's all this is. It's nothing more than that. So what? So what? All this time that we've been going through security at airports, it's not been safe? This is what I mean, folks. Use your critical thinking. If we continue to let this shit keep going on, right, then our kids will have biometric scanners inserted in their bodies. This is how serious this is. You know, when we were, you joke around and there's nothing wrong with the security system at the moment. But to prove a point, this is how sick these bastards are. To prove a point, if we all rejected this proposal, then you can bet your bottom dollar within a month or a couple of months or whatever, there'd be an absolute hijack here or something of similar, and everybody would run for these things. Who owns the scanners, by the way? I believe it is George Soros. It's a George Soros company. And do you remember the guy that shot, well, no, sorry, he didn't shoot him. I don't know who shot all the people in Las Vegas. But they now have all these scanners at all the Las Vegas casinos. Because they implemented that a week after the shootings. So who's a buffoon? And, how far are we letting this go, folks? You won't be able to get into a shopping mall soon without them. It's coming, folks. As much as you and I sit here and we keep saying, we're going to fight the deep state, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, look how far we've got. We've now got, full body scanners at airports. The next step is full identification, which is what they just said anyway. The next step is biometric chips in your wrist or a barcode on your eye, under your eye. Don't believe me? just keep letting this shit happen and then you will believe me. Like I said to you, that Jewish bloke who, you know, they came for my friends, I said nothing. They came for the people next door, I said nothing. And then they came for me and there was no one left for me to say anything to. Look, I can't read it anymore. It's making me sick. I was going to briefly touch this, folks. Alexander was interviewed by the FBI. And it looks like he lied. It's all one big lie. Oops! What are you going to do about that, Alexander Downer? You could probably pick up the phone and talk to Hillary. You know, the one you gave about 150 billion of Australian dollars, taxpayers' dollar to? You turd. You, my friend, are an absolute disgrace. And it's going to come out and you are, I hope, going to jail for all the evil shit you've done over the years. It's all going to come out. Anyway, folks, verse of the day. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you singing. Wow. I'll read it again. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Fantastic verse. And as always, folks, got to finish with the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory for ever and ever. Amen. Well, folks, I'll leave it there. I hope you get the point about the safety things at the airports, because it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. We've been told and we've been told and we've been told that they're going to go for full implementation of these biometric readers and shit in our bodies or whatever. And this is just part of that. If you want your kids to grow up in that kind of world, just keep letting this crap go on. That's why I do this show. That's why I hope you listen to me. That's why I hope you pass the message on to somebody else. Before I go, folks, just a plug for my new Patreon email, my PayPal account and my Patreon page. And also, as I said, if anybody knows of anybody who wants to print some t-shirts for me, let me know so I can get in touch with them, or they can get in touch with me, one or the other. I'd like to get them started as soon as possible, because like I said, sticking it to the man, how much more brutal can you get than everyone starting to wear t-shirts? That's funny. Alright folks, God bless, prep out.